Lee and Todd Carver with the whistles wearing the stripes.
We are ready to go as they will toss it up. And the tip is controlled by Southern Indiana. Again, these two teams matching up for the first time since 2012. Former GLVC opponents.
What were you doing in 2012?
I was actually attending Ball State University at that time.
I was here at Southern Indiana as an undergrad, so before we knew each other.
Shafford throws it into Rayleigh, can't get it to go. Rayleigh's second effort. How about a third effort? Nope, jump ball. But with that, let's go ahead and take a look at our starting lines presented by Serve Pro, the official restoration partnership of the OVC.
For Northern Kentucky, in the Open, we talked about Macy Blevins, but I'm also keeping an eye on J.C. Jones. She's a Hoosier native from Fort Wayne, and she has the ability to create different situations for her Norse teammates.
Yeah, Jones, a transfer from IU Indianapolis. She's played 87 career games, now 88 after today. Three-pointer from the left wing, well off the mark, as Jones a little strong on that one. Now we take a look at Southern Indiana's starting five.
You see Vanessa Shafford has the ball. She can dish it off to Allie Saunders, who is really good at creating shot opportunities herself for teammates.
Yeah, Saunders will kind of act as the point guard today with Trinity Ralston out with an injury. Also of note, Sophia Loda making her first career start. Vanessa Shafford gets the scoring started as she opens up with a three-pointer.
Vanessa Shafford's been either hot or cold here early on this season. Good sign for Rick Stein to see her hitting an early shot.
The Norse able to break the press as that one an easy lay-in for 2 points. And we are now 3-2 with 8:36 to play in this first quarter.
Both teams will try to set the pace here early on. Which one sticks, we'll find out.
Shafford with the basketball. Trying to work that screen and roll with Rayleigh. Shafford will go to the line where she's a very good foul shooter too, and I think this is important for her to get into a rhythm.
Free throws are a big key for Southern Indiana. Getting to the charity stripe, this is a really good free throw shooting team, Southern Indiana. And that's what you kind of want to do early on, not only getting easy points at the charity stripe, but then getting the opposition into foul trouble.
So Shafford will step to the line as she knocks down the first free throw. Perfect 10 for 10 now. And now we go to your zeroed out performer, Zane.
And my Zane zeroed out performer, Vanessa Shafford. We've seen her hit an early three so far this contest, and then knocking down a couple of free throws. All 5 points so far for the Screaming Eagles.
So 5-2 is the score, as you mentioned, all five coming from the senior guard out of Linton, Indiana. Now a little bit of trouble in the backcourt for Anna Hamilton, and a jump ball will go to the Screaming Eagles.
Like this aggression I'm seeing so far from Rick Stein's club. That press continues to be a problem when you're trying to get up court against Southern Indiana offensively, and as long as that press works, Rick Stein will continue to apply it.
So baseline out of bounds, they lob it up to Buchanan. Buchanan gets her first two. Amaya Buchanan, a local product out of Evansville North High School.
Originally started her collegiate career playing for the Red Hawks within the OVC at Southeast Missouri State and making an early impact here this season for Southern Indiana.
Baseline drive for Hamilton. She'll kick it back out. Good defense so far for the Screaming Eagles, but a right corner triple is good for Anna Hamilton.
And that's the dangerous thing. You kick it into the post, and then that allows the extra pass, and good court awareness allows for an easy shot there for the Norse.
That one thrown out of bounds, and it looks like it goes off of a Screaming Eagle, so it'll be a turnover against Southern Indiana. Their first turnover of the night. You see the full court pressure, a 2-2-1 look by the Screaming Eagles. Buchanan tips that one out of bounds, and it'll stay with the Norse.
You mentioned, Jordan, the full court press. It's one thing to apply the press, but then it's a second thing that once the press is broken to get back into defensive position, and there Amaya Buchanan doing a really good job of that.
Good move, but too strong in the lane was Macy Blevins. Battle for the loose ball won by Rayleigh. Now here comes Saunders leading the break. Buchanan got her first two, can't get those two, as Rayleigh looks like she's going to get called for an over-the-back foul.
That's a tough call if you're Meredith Rayleigh, because You mentioned the foul. I think the contact came across the arm, which is what dislodged the basketball. So an involuntary play by Northern Kentucky, and more times than not will draw a whistle on the team being the aggressor there.
Rayleigh's been a very important player really since the minute she stepped on campus coming out of Gibson Southern High School, but it's especially true this year, and she was named co-OVC Player of the Week after her great performance, really mostly against St. Louis the last time out.
And that was a really big win for Southern Indiana, flipping the script from a year ago.
J.C. Jones knocks it down. A pretty rainbow three gives the Norse their first lead of the day at 8-7.
NKU, they're not going to be afraid to shoot the basketball, especially if they're left wide open. You see Jones with the shot there after Hamilton has already hit a three.
And bad pass on the entry pass. Now a turnover as the Norse have it. Blevins gets it back. Really good patience here from NKU.
So good at passing the basketball.
That one blocked and then corralled by Buchanan. They were looking inside for Rayleigh but couldn't get it to her. Sophia Loden stumbles but able to find Shafford. Off the mark and rebounded by Calissa Lacey.
Lucky there wasn't a travel called on that end of the floor for the Screaming Eagles.
Ball goes inside for Wolterman. Now it's Morgan. Kimura Morgan and Calissa Lacey came in during the last dead ball. Lacey with 10. Too strong on the corner three for Blevins. Saunders going 1-on-0.
Good extra pass.
Shafford, too strong. And that one's going to go off the Norse. Oh, they stay in bounds.
We play on, Jordan Fisher.
We do play on. Good hustle play there.
My kind of game so far. A nice pace, a good flow.
Very aggressive defense being shown by Southern Indiana, trying to create those turnovers. Good block by Shafford, and she taps it to Saunders. 5-on-4.
And you count on Vanessa Shafford for the offense, but there she is showing up defensively as well.
And instead of settling for the three, she attacks the hoop for two more.
Just late getting back the Norse defensively, and Vanessa Shafford, she's a veteran. She knows if you drive the baseline, more times than not, you can have an easy scoring opportunity with a layup.
USI with the lead. Ball tapped out, and it goes out of bounds off Buchanan last, and that'll take us to our first media timeout. 9-8 is our score.
Valley Conference in Division II, but also in the Division II NCAA National Tournament.
Yeah, the first ever meeting between these two teams happened all the way back in 1982. Northern Kentucky won that matchup as well. The last USI win came in double overtime against the Norse. It's a turnover by NKU, and now here comes Vanessa Shafford, and looks like we have a clock issue
with our shot clock, because I think it took a little bit longer than 1 second to expire, and that's right now what our shot clock is showing at 29. They only take 2 more seconds off, though, at 27.
They didn't bother reviewing. They said, about 2 seconds is good enough.
1 Mississippi,
there you
2
go.
Mississippi.
Exactly. That's sometimes the best way to keep track of time. Saunders slicing through, can't get it to go. Allie Saunders is going to be somebody very important today for Southern Indiana with no Trinity Ralston. I expect her to play 35 minutes or so today, possibly at point guard.
And Trinity Ralston's absence is going to be a big hole for the Screaming Eagles to try to fill up on both ends of the floor.
Maddie Webb gets the steal. Now Lexi Green leading the break. Lexi Green, also Chloe Gannon into the game, so 3 subs during that last stoppage. Inside out, Green thought about it. And a lot of contact, no whistle. Ball still loose, and Lexi Green comes up with it. Down to 15 on the shot clock, and that one kicked out of bounds.
I like the aggression I've seen so far from Northern Kentucky defensively. They're really closing those passing lanes, making it somewhat difficult for Southern Indiana to get the ball inside to their bigs.
This type of lineup, too, could definitely lean in USI's favor with the double big lineup of Webb and Gannon.
But you have to be able to give them the ball.
Maddie Webb turnaround jump shot, can't get it to go. Gannon gets the offensive rebound. Her putback is good, and it's a 3-point lead.
With each passing game, we're seeing Chloe Gannon get healthier and healthier. She missed the first handful of games with a foot injury, and now seeing her impact on the floor.
And now a turnover in the backcourt by the Norse. Pressure starting to get to Northern Kentucky.
That's when, if you're Northern Kentucky, you can't just vacate to the front court. You have to sag back a little bit and set a necessary screen to free up that ball handler and create an alleyway.
Already 4 turnovers for Northern Kentucky. They had 13 in that loss at Toledo. Ball goes inside for Webb. And she gets the right hook to go.
Maddie Webb has that right hook going. She's really tough to defend in the post.
Maddie Webb playing a bit of a different role this year, too, for Southern Indiana. Started majority of the games last year for the Screaming Eagles. She was named an OVC preseason player to watch, but she's been a good boost off the bench as well this season.
Her and Buchanan have kind of gone back and forth when it comes to being that 5th starter for Rick Stein's club.
Deep 3 from the right wing, as that one's too strong. And Saunders with it now, trying to get to the middle of the floor.
Forced shot for the Norse, a little early in my liking.
Lexi Green from 3.
And that was a really good shot for Lexi Green, because not only was she open for the shot, but she had rebounders there ready to collect that offensive board if she missed. But really good job of pushing the pace and getting the preferred shot for Rick Stein's club.
So a foul by Vanessa Shafford, her first personal. She'll exit, as it looks like Sophia Loden checked back into the game. And now coming back in for the Norse, Abby Wolterman, a transfer from IU Indianapolis as well.
R.I.P. IUPUI. As we used
Can't
to
call it Ooey Pooey anymore.
Yeah, we affectionately called that. I was always almost on my way to Ooey Pooey, but yeah, now just IU Indy, the Jaguars. Still the same mascot, though.
Down to 10 seconds on the shot clock. Maya Meredith drives, puts one up, can't get it to go. Strong rebound by Loden. Loden is coming off one of her best games as a Screaming Eagle. 12 points, 8 rebounds against St. Louis in a season-high 31 minutes.
And what an early statement win that was against the Billikens here at Liberty Arena last Sunday.
Pretty move from Saunders, but left the floater a little bit short. But you mentioned it's a great win here early in the season. A little bit of revenge from last year, too.
Because it was a lopsided defeat at Chaffetz Arena in St. Louis.
Shot is blocked by Gannon, but a foul underneath. We'll see if they get Chloe Gannon. And they're going to actually give it to Sophia Loden.
And one thing, Jordan, you have a big win against St. Louis 6 days ago, and then the important thing is being 6 days ago. So Rick Stein, coming off of a win where you have some momentum, had a whole week at his disposal to really hit the practice floor, kind of refine and retune some of the weaknesses that they might have been shown in that game against the Billikens.
Wolterman splits the pair, but to your point there, you're really not going to probably find another full week of practice until maybe the Christmas holiday. And then after that, you're into OVC play where you're not going to have nearly as much time to get through those little ironing out issues in practice.
But even the Christmas holiday, your players are going to be away from campus for a little bit just to go and see family.
That's true. Turnover underneath, and
that was almost a double dribble.
Yeah, surprising what a double dribble. They said it was bobbled, so never really actually started the dribble.
I'm not here to second guess.
Iduwu with it.
It's a bad place to pick up the dribble.
Iduwu averaging 16 points per game. Yet to really get going on offense here. A steal by Allie Saunders and a foul in the backcourt. Saunders is somebody that came on strong at the end of last season, too, whenever she was inserted in the starting lineup. It felt like USI really took off, and it's her ability to not only defend but score on the other end as well that she brings to such an element of this team.
She is the master at getting the deflection, and a lot of times, Jordan, those deflections just turn into straight-up steals for Allie Saunders.
Lexi Green, a little hesitation. Floater too strong. Or excuse me, that was Loden. Now pushing it is Blevins. And ball stolen away by Lexi Green. Green trying to go coast to coast. Too strong.
Probably forced that. It would have been better off to sag back a little bit and wait for some teammate help.
Iduwu with it. She gives it off to Meredith. Meredith, the senior guard out of Newport, Kentucky. And Loden secures the loose ball.
And really, Southern Indiana, there's a minimal difference. They can go for the last shot unless they turn the ball over, and now it's the Norse that get the last opportunity here of the quarter.
Unless the Norse turn it over, of course. Maya Buchanan
of course.
in. There you go.
See what I did there?
Oh, yeah. That was the 4th turnover for Southern Indiana, 6 turnovers for the Norse here in this first quarter.
I was trying to emphatically agree with what a great point you had just made. Yeah, see, I see what you, okay. Touche.
Nearly turned over. Now it's Hamilton with it. Ball swung around. Floater on the baseline is good by Macy Blevins. 7 seconds on the game clock.
The floater is the toughest shot to defend.
Lexi Green from half court. And that one's short, and that's going to take us to the end of the first quarter. After 1 quarter, USI leads it by 5 on ESPN on Tuesday. And she was certainly a big part of their success last year as well. OVC tournament MVP.
A lot of hardware for the Screaming Eagles ever since they joined the Ohio Valley Conference as a transitioning team to Division I.
And speaking of that, they received hardware yesterday as they got their championship rings for the OVC tournament.
Yeah, the bling looked pretty good. You can never complain about getting a championship ring.
Good rebound by Buchanan as she gets it out to Saunders quickly.
Of course, we both have championship rings from professional baseball setting, working together back in the day.
With the Evansville Otters.
Yes, of the Frontier League, 2016 champs.
Great pass from Rayleigh into Buchanan. Buchanan can't finish. Battle for the loose ball. Schaffer comes up with it. Good heads-up play getting that to Green. Now Buchanan tries again with a jump shot, and she connects.
That's where the hustle plays really pay off for you, then being able to find Buchanan for the open shot, and she can score.
Norse quickly break the pressure. Little hesitation now, a three-pointer from Madison French. Her first made 3 of the season as she cuts the deficit to 4.
And the open shooters for the Norse of NKU, that's been a problem here early on, and NKU capitalizing with a couple of made trays.
They go inside for Rayleigh. Rayleigh trying to bully her way in, but that one partially blocked.
Again, having a little bit of problems dribbling there, might be trying to move a little too quickly for her own good.
Hamilton with it now. Iduwu trying to get going on offense. Gets her left-handed runner to go.
What a solid finish. The back half of the rim there and a solid touch.
Iduwu connects on her first shot attempt from the floor. Averaging 16 points per game this year for Northern Kentucky.
This Norse team is not going to be phased with some of the spurts that Southern Indiana can apply offensively.
Down to 10 on the shot clock. Step back from Shafford. Connects.
And that was really good defense there from Northern Kentucky as Madison French was there on her.
Now a steal in the backcourt. Saunders cut off. And now Shafford will just back it back out and the Screaming Eagles will reset. Allie Saunders wide open underneath. Great pass from Rayleigh and a great screen from Buchanan.
Yeah, the screen created a miscommunication defensively for NKU and a wide open scoring layup.
Lead back up to 7 now for Southern Indiana. It's now their second largest lead. They had an 8-point advantage earlier. So they're stopping a bucket away from making that bigger. Another three-pointer this time for French is in and out. And then a good collision on that sideline. Going for the steal was Macy Blevins, and she'll pick up the personal foul, the first team foul against the Norse here in this second quarter.
If I'm Macy Blevins, instead of going for that steal, which is a high fouling possibility, get in defensive position, and you might have been able to draw an offensive foul with the Southern Indiana player kind of out of control moving down the floor. But a break for the Screaming Eagles here, getting a foul call and a side-out opportunity.
Had a couple subs come in. Maddie Webb back in, and also Lexi Sepulveda checking into the game for the first time today.
Sepulveda, I talk about her every broadcast I do for Southern Indiana and how good of a shooter she has the potential to be here for Rick Stein's club.
Shafford working that screen roll with Webb. She's doubled. Ball still loose on the floor, and now the Norse come away with it. Blevins leading the break. Blevins can't get it to go. And now Saunders comes away with the basketball. And fouled on the shot attempt as Saunders will head to the line.
One thing that I noticed, Jordan Fisher, is in transition, NKU was pushing the ball up the floor, and it looked like the shot clock was extremely tardy in being reset. We saw Stacy Lee spinning her finger up in the air. And so the Norse really forcing the issue. They had an opening, but at the time where they fired that shot, there was 8 seconds on the clock, where in theory they should have had more like 20 or 22 seconds on that shot clock.
Saunders connects on the first free throw. She is now 9 of 10 on the season. And she'll try to go 10 of 11 and make it a 9-point game. In and out. So it stays at 8, tied for the largest lead today for the Screaming Eagles.
But a good job by Northern Kentucky. Every time it's gotten out to 8 points, they've had an answer offensively, and a big reason why the three-point shot.
Ball goes to the free throw line for Aduwu. Another three-pointer, this time too strong by French. Little off the mark. Skip pass to Saunders. Thought about a three momentarily. Nice move from Saunders, and she finishes it.
Oh, the shot fake is an offensive player's best friend, Jordan Fisher. What a beautiful move and finish.
The shot fake, the between the legs crossover to create the separation.
You try defending that.
I don't want to.
I would actually like to see that. I would be entertained.
I would not.
Entertained at your expense.
They just showed it again on the video board here at Liberty Arena.
Home of the Screaming Eagles.
You're such a company man.
I try to be, man. I try.
20 seconds on the shot clock for the Norse. They're trying to get this back down to single digits. Been a slow start to this second quarter, just 5 points. And for the entirety of the game, just shooting 33% from the field. Down to 5. Blevins going to have to go. Down to 3. Step back. Off the mark, but Aduwu right there for the offensive rebound and putback.
Barely nicked the rim, and that was enough for a second chance opportunity for the Norse.
Sepulveda can't get it to go, as she had a little bit of contact on her drive. Now she races back and forces the loose ball, and a tie-up will go to the Screaming Eagles. So you'd mentioned Sepulveda as somebody you've talked about whenever you've been on the broadcast about her potential as a shooter, especially down the line. Well, the freshman guard out of Bolingbrook, Illinois, scored 1,800 career points in her high school career, and she averaged 27 points per game during that time.
So what you're saying is she's pretty good.
I think she's got some potential.
Doesn't take an expert analyst like me to decipher those stats.
She was named an IBCA All-State Special Mention, also an honorable mention for the Illinois Media All-State vote as well. Maddie Webb had it stripped away, able to regather, but couldn't put it on the backboard. And then Rayleigh wisely throws it off a Norse defender.
Really good focus there by Maddie Webb to, after the block, be able to keep her composure and get the ball back, and now an opportunity along the baseline.
Rayleigh whips it into Webb very quickly. Webb working through a double team. Can't get it, and that one goes out of bounds, and it'll stay with the Screaming Eagles, but it'll take us to a media timeout. 26-18.
A Division II nerd like I am, but man, has that conference changed since both Northern Kentucky and Southern Indiana were competing in the GLVC.
USI trying to extend their lead after retaining possession after a offensive rebound was tipped out of play by the Norse. Rayleigh finds Shafford, good inside out, and Shafford connects with another triple. She's up to 13 points on 3 made threes.
The magic of the extra pass. You're passing up a really good shot opportunity for a great shot opportunity. You saw it right there.
Zone defense, deep three from Blevins, she answers.
Man, Macy Blevins saying, okay, you're going to leave me wide open. I'm going to knock down this tray. And she was relatively far out, a shot that she can clearly make.
Shafford thought about it briefly. Thought maybe she's going to hoist it up again as a heat check. Good backdoor pass to Maddie Webb, and she's fouled, so Webb will head to the charity. That's right. I want to point out one thing, Zane. Meredith Rayleigh is yet to score in this contest, which is abnormal through 16 minutes almost of game action. But she's staying involved and doing a great job of passing and creating for others so far to really kind of still make her mark on this contest.
That's why Rick Stein really does have a well-oiled machine here, he and his staff. because you're without Trinity Ralston, who a couple of weeks ago against Murray State was a breakout performer, was key down the stretch last year, but they can plug and place. And really, this is the most unselfish team I've seen in covering these games for ESPN+.
Webb's trip to the foul line was empty. 0 for 2 from the stripe. And now the Norse trying to cut it down to 6, maybe 5 points if they can get a 3 on this possession. Duwu thought about it. Now she gets it over to Blevins. Blevins has been hot here in the second quarter. And she draws contact on her way, so she'll head to the foul line.
That's one thing. If you're Macy Blevins, you have shown early on in this game you have the ability not only to drive the ball like you just saw, but in the last possession knock down a 3. And so that's going to get the Southern Indiana defense a little off balance and makes her extremely difficult to defend.
Sophia Loden back in as Lexi Sepulveda will take a rest. And Blevins, she's been struggling from the field. 2 of 9, just 1 of 4 from beyond the arc. We mentioned we just saw the deep 3 there, but misses her first shot at the foul line and able to connect on the second one. Blevins will exit, and coming on is Maya Meredith. Meredith did not play last year for NKU. She was a transfer from Western Kentucky, though. And her freshman year at Western Kentucky for the Hilltoppers, she was named the Conference USA Freshman Player of the Year. So certainly some talent there as well for Meredith. Shafford couldn't get that one to go, but it looked good out of the hand. J.C. Jones with it out top. Now she goes to Aduwu. Aduwu with a long 2-point shot. She banks it in.
Banking hours on a Saturday afternoon, just when you thought the banks closed at noon, Jordan Fisher.
So the only thing I know that's open afternoon is ATMs, but apparently the bank is open for her. She must bank at a different bank than I do. Saunders pass fake in 3, too strong. And Rayleigh, offensive rebound, but going to get called for the push.
Here, I thought you still just kept all your money underneath the mattress so you didn't have to worry about the FDIC and all the government bureaucracy involved.
No, I don't worry about all that.
Well, I do. So,
okay, so
take some of my
I know
worry.
where to look for money at your apartment. Aduwu, 2-on-1 break. Meredith trying to make the extra pass back to Aduwu. It was deflected, but Aduwu comes up with it. And now a foul. This will go either against Allie Saunders or Sophia Loden. They're going to hit Loden with the personal foul. That's her second personal foul and the 4th team foul here in the second quarter, Zane. So no more fouls to give for the Screaming Eagles.
That's going to prompt Rick Stein to go to both Amaya Buchanan and Chloe Gannon here with that foul trouble. And it's a personal foul despite it now being the 4th. If you're Rick Stein, you can live with, because that's an aggression play trying to get a steal.
Webb and Rayleigh were the 2 that exited as that shot is off the mark, rebounded by Saunders. Buchanan and Gannon, as you mentioned, coming back into the contest for Southern Indiana. And they go into Buchanan, free throw line jump shot, maybe a little bit of contact, but no whistle. And then a foul underneath, as a good job by Chloe Gannon to track down that loose basketball.
Man, we've seen a lot of contact not be called, and I feel bad for Kimora Morgan there as she's whistled for what looked to be just inadvertent passing contact there.
4 team fouls now for both sides in this quarter, so the next foul, that's a non-charger, player control foul, I should say at least. We'll send him to the foul line.
A common foul.
A common foul, there you go. Good steal from Shafford, tracking back and quickly recognizing that passing lane.
Chloe Gannon making a difference with her time here on the floor.
Skip pass to Loden, deflected out of play.
Mentioned a couple of minutes ago, Chloe Gannon missing the first couple of games. She had a foot injury that she dealt with at the end of last season in the WNIT run, had all of offseason to rehab, but still, foot injuries are really tough to come back from.
Yeah, foot injuries can tend to linger, and it's usually not what you want, especially from one of your key cogs in the front court from last season. Buchanan has it stripped away on the drive, but gets it back. Down to 7 on the shot clock. Shafford's tough shot. Can't get it to go. And a foul will be called underneath. So Sophia Loden's getting hit with the foul here. Now, what did you see on this play? Because your body language seemed to think it's an automatic foul.
Well, do you know why the foul was called? Because Northern Kentucky was in amazing position. They had 3 Norse players in the paint blocking out, and that basically forced then a Southern Indiana foul. That was job well done trying to get the defensive glass.
Shot rattles around and drops in for Kimora Morgan. The important thing is that's the 3rd foul on Sophia Loden, and she is still out there with 1:42 to play in this first half.
Shows you that Rick Stein has a lot of faith in her, but we might be seeing here the next dead ball, a sub to get her out, especially with just 90 seconds left here in the first half.
Lexi Green headed to the scorer's table, so she will check in at the next dead ball. Gannon trying to deal with the double team. Little push shot is good.
Chloe Gannon dealt with the double team, dealt with some contact, and was still able to finish.
Chloe Gannon played in all 32 games last year as a freshman, starting 2 games, and she averaged 10.4 points per game for the Screaming Eagles as a freshman. A tough layup there for Kimora Morgan. Cuts it back to 6.
And Gannon was honored in the postseason OVC after the tournament honors, but I think it's a travesty she wasn't on the all-newcomer team for the regular season prior to that OVC tournament taking place.
She was named to the all-tournament team at least. But yeah, probably could argue for more accolades there for Gannon.
Should have been on both. If I had a vote, she would have been both.
Down to 40 seconds to play in this first half. About a 13-second difference between game clock and shot clock. Step back 3 from J.C. Jones. Left it a little bit short. And now Saunders pushing. And there's a clock issue. They didn't reset the shot clock on the offensive rebound or the defensive rebound. There should be about, I think, a 5 or 6 second difference here, you think?
I don't know if it's a wiring issue, but so far this afternoon, the shot clock has just been a tad bit tardy in resetting. And so now our referees here trying to figure this out.
I thought she grabbed the rebound with about 33 seconds, so that makes sense. 3-second difference.
Man, you're good. You're our next Mike Pereira.
I don't know about all that. I do know one thing I learned from last year. You can't block a shot with a shoe.
Well, the referees at the time didn't know that. We all found that out
really
after the fact,
it.
thanks to a little memo that was sent the following day.
Now
we all know.
Nobody really knew at the time.
Here I was cited by CNN, and I ended up being wrong.
That's okay.
That's what you get for going out on a limb.
Down to 5 on the shot clock. Good feed inside. Gannon fouled on the shot attempt with 4.6 to play in the first half.
See that patience, though? There's 1 second on the shot clock, or there was 1 second on the shot clock. We get a second look at it. The post feed, and that's what Chloe Gannon is so good at, getting on the block, getting to where she knows she can score, and if she can't score, she ends up most times being fouled.
Really a great catch, too, from Gannon as she connects on the first free throw. That's her first free throw attempt of the season, and she starts off a perfect 1 for 1. See if she can go 2 for 2 and make it an 8-point lead. And she does. Inbounded quickly. J.C. Jones has it knocked away. Last second heave from Shafford, and it was online, but she left it short.
That was a great finish. Defense not giving up on the play, almost creating.
Devin Kenny switching today.
Devin Kenny, man, we got the all-star crew here this afternoon.
All of our camera ops doing a great job. Really thankful for everyone that helps bring these productions to be possible.
It's a lot of work behind the scenes. You have no idea.
Norse with the basketball to start the third quarter, nearly turning it over. Battle for the loose ball, and USI comes away with it. Great hustle play by Vanessa Shafford.
Here's Southern Indiana trying to push the pace, but a turnover.
Saunders was doubled, had it poked away. It's a steal for NKU. Thought about a 3, now she fires it away, left it short. Good rebound by Buchanan.
Really good rebound, and then finding the guard to get the offense in motion.
Wide open corner 3 for Loden, left it short, can't get the bounce, but Rayleigh's there to clean it up for her first 2.
And Meredith Rayleigh was able to get that rebound and offensive putback because of a lack of a block out from the Norse defensively.
Everyone kind of got caught ball watching there, watching the basketball bounce off the top of the backboard and softly off the rim.
You're absolutely right there, Jordan. You're always right, though.
Well, I don't know about always.
Well, most times.
Most times. Blevins will fire away. She got it. And looks like a quick timeout timeout, so they have 3 timeouts remaining. Screaming Eagles with 4.
So it must have been something that Jeff Hands basically said, hey, I want to nip this in the bud right now after a pretty positive play for the Norse getting that 3-point shot.
Rayleigh trying to lob it inside for Buchanan. Good catch from Buchanan, a good finish. Amaya Buchanan, the 6-foot sophomore from Evansville, Indiana, a transfer from Southeast Missouri. And she's been a big addition here for Rick Stein's squad. Blevins, step back 3, too strong.
You can tell Macy Blevins feeling it right now. She's knocked down a couple threes, so she'll keep taking it.
Schaffer left open the corner. Couple dribbles, pull up, jump shot, connects.
Such an unselfish move. Passes up the wide open 3, shot fake, couple of dribbles, and creates a higher percentage scoring opportunity.
Ball being passed around. Blevins now with it. Iduwu. She was 3 for 3 in the first half. Skips this one to the corner for Jones. And another good rebound by Amaya Buchanan. And a jump ball will go to Southern Indiana.
Amaya Buchanan making her presence known when she's on the floor, and her length is what gives so many opposing players an issue, because it's one thing to have the length, but then it's another thing to have the athleticism to go along with it.
Well, and she utilizes that length on both ends of the floor. She had 10 rebounds in that game against St. Louis, only 6 points. And last year for SEMO, she led the team in blocks with 22.
That was a tricky pass that could have been picked off there.
Quite literally whizzed by the ear of the defender. Down to 5. Saunders going to have to create. She goes to work, and she gets it to go.
Just in the nick of time. And almost a turnover here for Northern Kentucky.
Good hustle there by Anna Hamilton to keep that one inbounds and able to corral it.
I thought they were passing it to you.
I thought so too for a split second. Iduwu with the tough finish.
Really good answer there from Iduwu, with Southern Indiana with this double-digit lead, trying to create even more separation here at key stretch.
Rayleigh fires up a 3, and it's a rainbow that goes in.
If I had $1 for every time I've seen Meredith Rayleigh just posting up top of the key, getting a great pass from the guard, and knocking down a wide-open 3, I would have several dollars.
Really not a transition situation, but it came kind of like a semi-transition shot, as Shafford with the steal, trying to go coast to coast, drops it off to Rayleigh for another 2.
What teamwork, an unselfish play. It's 2-on-1. You pass it to the open player, running alongside, and now suddenly the lead balloon to 16 points.
It feels like it happened in just a matter of a couple minutes. An 11-2 run for USI. That one goes out of bounds.
Well, our last media timeout, it was 37-30, and that was after a made 3 from Northern Kentucky. The Norse coach, Jeff Hands, calls a timeout, and then ever since that timeout, I don't know what Rick Stein told him, but you want to put that in a book and sell it and make a lot of money.
Yeah, that was some sort of run out of the timeout, and we're going to see if USI can keep it going. Maddie Webb with it as she's back in the game. Lob into Rayleigh, and a whistle underneath.
3 seconds, and that's a pretty easy call. Meredith Rayleigh went right down underneath the basket and kind of camped out, and Stacy Lee with a really good call there.
Well, if they would have got the ball to Rayleigh earlier, you might have seen her score 7 straight points for USI. Into the game for the first time today for NKU is Gabby Rosano, the 6'2 sophomore. She's got the basketball right now. Jason Jones thought about it. Good hesitation and drive. Too strong, though. Ball tapped, and Saunders leading the break 2-on-1 with Rayleigh to her left. Saunders will take it herself, though, for 2 more.
Did you see that? It looked like Allie Saunders faked the pass and then went back the other way. Gets the defense a little out of position and an easy layup.
18-point lead for Southern Indiana. A lot of it coming after that timeout. Shot rejected by Rayleigh.
Right into the hands of Rayleigh. She really didn't even have to jump in order to get that block.
Screaming Eagles running feverishly, but a travel on the catch by Shafford. Maya Meredith will now check in for NKU.
That's a traveling call to humble you a little bit, because right now in this third quarter it has been all Southern Indiana doubling that halftime advantage here and still piling on.
They've outscored the Norse 15-5 here in this third quarter. Again, on a big run, 13-2 since that timeout by NKU. This one goes forward up to Allie Saunders. Saunders with the patience. Euro step blocked, goes out of bounds. And that will go to Northern Kentucky. And that'll take us to a media timeout as well. Well, as we're here in the third quarter, USI leading Northern Kentucky. And it's 50-32 is our score. Norse with the basketball out of the media timeout. Driving baseline is Morgan, and her shot partially deflected as USI comes away with the loose ball.
Right now the Norse are trying to push it just a little too much inside. Try to find a mid-range jump shot to get the offense clicking again.
Rayleigh trying to go to work on that right block. Can't get it to go. Maya Meredith trying to go coast to coast. Good challenge by Shafford. Might even got a piece of it. And now she's leading the break. Saunders drops it into Rayleigh. Can't get that one to drop in, though.
Everything but the touch there.
I think it hit every part of the rim, including the backboard, and didn't drop in. Meredith. Now it's Blevins. Good defense from USI. They've been sound defensively here, especially in the third quarter. Blevins with a tough step through, though, to break the scoring drought.
Really good job there by Macy Blevins of creating some space. Gets the defender shredded off of her and then allows for a scoring opportunity. But then the one thing you don't want to do is then commit a foul that far away from the basket. The good news is I mentioned early on how I've liked the flow and pace of this game. I have really enjoyed, knock on wood, how this game has been officiated from Daniel Drake, Stacey Lee, and Todd Carver. That, Jordan Fisher, is our first common foul here of the third quarter over 6 minutes in.
Yeah, for either side. One team foul for the Norse now, 0 for Southern Indiana. They've been letting them play here in this third quarter. Shafford off a pin down, connects!
I had no doubt. No doubt, Jordan Fisher.
Zero doubt from Zane about that performance from Vanessa Shafford. 18 points now, 4 of 7 from beyond the arc. And she is looking every bit of the OVC first-team all-selection that she was a year ago. Late closeout by Rayleigh, and Morgan makes them pay with a three-pointer of her own.
It's the next girl up mentality. You know, Vanessa Shafford the last couple of games really hasn't been counting on for her scoring. It's been her ball distribution, but with Trinity Ralston out, she has to kind of fill in the void there with the scoring as well. And, man, she has certainly done that here this afternoon.
Yeah, Saunders has handled most of the point guard duty. She's on the bench right now, so Shafford also having to play point guard, but Webb playing bully ball.
Bully ball, and that's just basketball to perfection right there. Posting up on the block. Great job by the Southern Indiana guards. We get a second look. And through the contact, and one, a three-point play opportunity the old-fashioned way. Back in the good old days is what I've been told.
The old-fashioned three-point play, as you like to talk about.
Pre-1986.
Webb can't convert the free throw. Ball was batted around quite a few times, but the Norse come up with the loose basketball. So it stays at a 55-37 game. NKU desperately needs to go on a run here at the end of this third quarter and try to cut at the deficit heading into the final period of regulation.
It's 18 points right now. Try to get it to within 10 or 12 by the end of the quarter, and just in terms of the morale, you'll feel a whole lot better about yourself.
So Blevins will head to the line. The senior guard out of Monticello, Kentucky. Came into tonight shooting 62% from the foul line. She makes the first one, and Vanessa Shafford has been your zero-doubt performer, and really no doubt about it. She's been the best player, I think, on the floor all night tonight.
And really, for me as an analyst, a pretty easy pick, right? Just based on her track record, but even more so today, doing things that we're not accustomed to seeing her doing, and that's creating her own shot as opposed to just receiving the ball from a great pass from one of her guard teammates.
I don't think there's been any doubt about Vanessa Shafford's basketball ability going back to her time at Linton Stockton. Shafford with it. Takes it back up to the top for Buchanan. Gannon working through the double team. Can't get the push shot to go.
And there you see Gannon, good job by Northern Kentucky, pushing her away from the basket a little bit further where it's tougher for her to finish that shot.
Skip pass, good closeout from Gannon, but a better shot from Morgan. As Kimora Morgan is coming to life here in this third quarter. She's up to 8 points now in the game.
Really good response here from the Norse, getting back down to 14. And again, if they can get within 10 or 12 by the end of the quarter, that would go a long way in terms of momentum going to the final period.
Lexi Green with it in the court, being closely guarded. One dribble pull up as she left it short. And good hustle play by Buchanan as she comes away with the offensive rebound and the putback.
We had seen it looked like Northern Kentucky had flipped a switch defensively, and then one lapse and one failure to block out allows for another second chance scoring opportunity, and the Screaming Eagles capitalize.
Good finish that time on the cut by Calissa Lacey. Shafford was there for the contest.
Yeah, it could have been an and one too with a hand in the back, but we play on.
14-point lead for USI. 25-second difference between game clock and shot clock. Screaming Eagles could try to go 2 for 1. They're going to have to go quickly, though.
I don't think they're going 2 for 1.
Green with it in the corner. I'm beginning to think you're right. Down to 10 on the shot clock.
It's about time you think I'm right.
You're right very often. Loaded from the corner. Left it short again. Shot clock off. We'll see if the Norse hold for one or if they try to push the pace.
If I'm them, I hold for one, but they're going to shoot it.
Morgan's got the hot hand, left it short, and an offensive rebound, but a foul underneath. I believe they're going to get Maya Meredith with a clear out.
And that's a score and clock situation that you have to have that awareness, Jordan Fisher. If the shot clock is off, you don't want to give another opportunity to the team that you're currently trailing by double digits.
To get it in, Allie Saunders will be coming in for the final 19 seconds. She's got the basketball. Breaks the pressure by herself. Good pass from Lexi Green to find Shafford.
Only thing missing was the Harlem Globetrotters music with that play.
Down to 3 seconds. One. Hamilton left it short. We head to the fourth quarter. It's a 16-point lead for the Screaming Eagles here at Liberty.
On the Fighting Illini of the University of Illinois.
Two things. One, wish we were going to Puerto Rico because that'd be a fun little trip. But also, two, you mentioned Ball State, number 1 in the mid-major top 25 USI. They found themselves number 20 in that poll that was released on Tuesday.
I would be missing Puerto Rico except for the fact that it's at the same time of the Battle of the Old Oaken Bucket, and I'd rather be in Bloomington for that.
Well, there you go. We know Indiana football is huge for you.
And the in-state showdown, one of the oldest long-standing rivalries in all of college sports. Come on.
It's a good one.
I'd rather freeze in Bloomington on Thanksgiving weekend than go to Puerto Rico. That shows you how crazy I really am.
Well, you are a Hoosier fan through and through. Shafford with one dribble pull-up, long two from Shafford. That gives her 22 points away. Her career high is 26. She did that twice last season. And so we'll see if she can break that here today.
Inching closer and closer here.
And just being more and more zeroed out.
We're going to have to get that trademarked here by the end of the season.
Ball goes up top.
I'll deal with my lawyers.
That's your business because that's not my zeroed out performer. Ball dribbled into kind of no man's land. Now down to 5. Lacey step back 3. Rattled in and out. Offensive rebound. Fresh 20. And then now a either jump ball or a foul. I haven't seen a signal yet.
Jump ball.
So that will go to USI. And who other than Amaya Buchanan to be the one that comes up with the rebound and tie-up?
No, she's missed hustle play, and that's certainly something that has been a big boost for Southern Indiana here early on this season and off to this 4-1 start and looking pretty likely like a 5-1 start.
Lexi Green with it now in that right corner. Green will fire away. Rebound by Buchanan. And then the pass stolen away as Lacey saw the passing lane. Morgan through the contact, she'll go to the line. Kamora Morgan, a freshman guard from Canada, actually competed with the U18 team for Canada in the FIBA Women's America Cup. She averaged 7 points per game for her country. That's got to be a situation that you got to love as a player, getting to play for your country and represent your country's colors. Morgan's first free throw, no good.
And this really coming in, I thought would be a very important game for both teams, not only for Southern Indiana because of the Big Ten competition and the trip to Puerto Rico that we outlined, but for Northern Kentucky, we saw their schedule as well. I like how the Horizon League, they have a little post-Thanksgiving conference appetizer, right? And so back-to-back at Cleveland State and home against Youngstown State. And if you're the head coach, Jeff Hands, you really want to have your team in the best position possible with those early conference games because they mean just as much in December as they do in February.
Timeout given to Southern Indiana as Coach Rick Stein was saving his heart.
Couple of runs by the Norse and then really responding there in the third quarter to really take control of this game. And now you just have to play your game over the final 8 minutes, and you're going to walk away with your 5th victory in 6 tries.
Sepulveda straight to the rim, but can't get it to drop in. Vanessa Shafford has been the story for USI here today. 22 points, 8 of 12 from the field. The rest of the team, 17 of 44 from the field. So Shafford's been really kind of holding up the water for USI and waiting for that second score to really step up for the Screaming Eagles.
So far, so good, though, and Southern Indiana really hasn't needed that second score. You've had the outside threat with Vanessa Shafford and the inside threat with both Maddie Webb and then at times Chloe Gannon.
And Meredith Rayleigh kind of came on there in the third quarter a little bit as another foul. This will be the 3rd team foul against Southern Indiana.
So you just
and
have
we are
one,
not even 2.5 minutes into this fourth quarter.
Right, so you just have one now foul to give, and then after that, every common foul will put Northern Kentucky at the charity stripe, and if you have the lead, that's the last thing you want to do.
Sepulveda picked up her second personal. Saunders trying to fight through the screen. Good pass inside as Rosano found herself wide open under the hoop.
Suddenly it's down to 15, so a couple stops here for the Norse can make this thing really interesting, especially if they can get a couple of buckets on the offensive end of the floor.
Near turnover by USI, but it stays with the Screaming Eagles. Maddie Webb now coming in as Chloe Gannon will exit. Allie Saunders thought she was the one that was coming out after that pass, but she gets to stay in the contest.
Yeah, then you see the smile from her saying, all right.
I think she thought at first that was like a disciplinary benching for a second. Every basketball player's been there at some point. Ball swung around the perimeter. Back up top for Saunders with 15 on the shot clock.
You know, Bob Knight had a theory on benching, but I can't really say it verbatim because I wouldn't be allowed back on ESPN+.
He had, let's say, colorful language.
Yes.
Down to 3, Shafford heaves, can't get it to go. It barely hit the rim. Saunders with the runner.
So now we see Jeff Hands, and I think he's questioning whether or not the ball actually hit the rim. And you see him talking to one of our 3 officials, and I think they are going to look at this.
I think this is a smart move. I said it barely hit the rim. If it did hit the rim, it hit the underneath part of the rim.
I thought it hit the rim, but here's the thing. We've already had the media timeout. So we'll get a second look here. And I don't think on that look it hit the rim. Potentially if we have a baseline view, that might be able to give us a more definitive answer. And this is a pretty quick review, and so
that was a pretty quick review, and I guess they're going to let the bucket stand.
Well, the public address announcer really didn't give us a definitive. He said the shot clock's reset to 20 seconds, but that's not what they were reviewing.
Yeah, I'll be honest saying don't really know what answer to give you here. I don't know if I have the right answer.
For the first time in my life, I'm speechless. Yeah, so you can laugh at that. I don't know.
Oh, J.C. Jones from the top of the arc. 14-point game. Norris just hanging around. Shafford, 22 points to lead the way for Southern Indiana. Saunders on that putback, by the way, the second Screaming Eagle to crack the double-digit scoring mark, as she's up to 11 points. Good lob in for Rayleigh as she's wide open. Meredith Rayleigh now up to 9 points for Southern Indiana. The lead is back to 16. Morgan through the contact and one.
I think any coach would say, including Rick Stein, if you're going to commit a foul on someone who's driving and trying to score, make sure you foul hard enough where you're not able to actually finish like Northern Kentucky was able to. And here, a pretty soft foul, minimal contact, and really good finish and play there for Kimora Morgan.
I think certainly enough to warrant the foul call, but Webb, you'd like to see her maybe hit the arm a little bit more, but Morgan did a good job of keeping the ball away from the body to be able to get that shot off. She could not convert the and one, but it's another opportunity here for the Norse to trim away at the deficit.
Because of a missed box out.
Down to 7 on the shot clock, skip pass. Morgan now attacks off the catch, and another scoop layup.
So if you're Kimora Morgan, you have to love a 4-point trip down on your offensive end of the floor, and clearly a foul there as Macy Blevins trying to create a little bit of havoc right at that timeline as Southern Indiana pushes the ball to the front court.
And the first team foul for the Norse. You also mentioned the hot hand that Morgan has had. She's now tied for the team lead with 13 points with Macy Blevins. And many of those coming here in the second half for Morgan.
I give a ton of credit here to Northern Kentucky. They were down by 18 points, seemed dead to rights, and then they turned up the intensity on the defensive end of the floor, and that energy and effort has translated to scoring opportunities on their offensive end.
The largest lead of the day at one point was 19 points for USI here in the second half. It's currently at 12. Good pass in from Buchanan, but she can't handle it as it's a turnover by the Screaming Eagles. Lacey wide open for three. Got it!
And suddenly, Jordan Fisher, it's a 9-point game, something just a couple of minutes ago I didn't think would be possible.
Buchanan with it right at the timeline, finds her way to get to Shafford. But USI desperately needs a bucket here. They've kind of gone ice cold these last few minutes. Saunders straight away. Too strong. Rayleigh with the loose ball, bodies falling everywhere.
Let the bodies hit the floor there.
No kidding. And Meredith Rayleigh, who's had a history of knee injuries, takes possibly the worst of that fall, but she seems to be okay. It's always a nervous feeling, though, when you see Meredith Rayleigh hit the deck like that for a Screaming Eagles fan.
Yeah, wearing a knee brace on both legs there.
Saunders with it, 18 seconds on the shot clock. Skip pass back to the top. Shafford fires away. And rebounded by Lacey.
No one down there in position to rebound for Southern Indiana.
J.C. Jones fires away. Rebounded by Morgan. How about Blevins? Rebounded by Shafford.
That's the kind of shot you want from Blevins if you're Jeff Hands. One of your best shooters coming off a great game. She had a wide open look.
4 of 13 today, 2 of 7 from beyond the arc. Certainly has not been her best shooting performance of the season. Rayleigh can't put away the easy shot. Maybe a little too far underneath the rim.
You see the frustration from Rayleigh.
And then not getting back on defense. Rosano running the floor.
Rick Stein needs a timeout, in my opinion. Now down to 7 here and a massive scoring run from the Norse.
Screaming Eagles trying to weather the storm. Saunders trying to go coast to coast. Fake pass and lay.
And Rick Stein says, take your timeout and we'll get a layup in transition instead.
Maybe just save it for a little bit longer. Screaming Eagles have got to find a way to stop this run. The Norse inside for Morgan and one again.
And that's the problem here. Northern Kentucky, for a large part of this game, was allowing Southern Indiana to control the pace and tempo of this game. And the Screaming Eagles here, as we get a second look, they are not getting back in position to be able to stop those passes 5 to 10 feet away from the basket.
Kimora Morgan has absolutely come to life here in this second half. An 11-2 run over the last 3 minutes. And the free throw is good by Kimora Morgan. And now Zane, this is the situation here. It's a 6-point game with 3:49, and Allie Saunders has done a good job of playing point guard. But this is kind of where you're missing Trinity Ralston. Her ability to score, her ability to dribble the basketball, but she's out today with an injury.
She is, and so this is an intestinal fortitude time for the Screaming Eagles, trying to weather this storm, playing a little bit too conservatively the last couple of minutes. They have to ramp it back up offensively.
Lexi Green out on the floor with Saunders, Shafford, Webb, and then also Gannon, and there's a bump underneath there. This is going to be a foul against Northern.
IA level and the Division III level at his previous stop, Thomas Moore, going against someone in Rick Stein that had a lot of tournament success at the Division II level, and then OVC obviously last year.
And Thomas Moore, 339 wins with them over the last 13 seasons. He was hired in April, though, was Jeff Hands for Northern Kentucky. Free throw line jump shot rattles in and out. Can't go for Maddie Webb. A chance for Northern Kentucky to maybe cut this to a one-possession game if they get 3 more points on this trip.
And if I'm Southern Indiana, I cut off the press and just get back and get in position defensively.
Meredith terminates the dribble. Inside it goes for Wolterman. She's been quiet tonight. Meredith baseline drive, left it short, rebounded by Lexi Green.
Really big rebound by Lexi Green.
Saunders with it, setting up the offense. Schaffer with 22 points tonight to lead the Screaming Eagles. And that one goes out of play off of the Norse player.
Might have been the best defensive play I've seen from the Norse all day, and if anything, you could have called an alternating possession jump ball.
Yeah, lots of hands in that area being active with the basketball. Nearly got the steal, but couldn't quite get it. 15 seconds on the shot clock now as Saunders circles her way into the lane. Nice little reverse lay, but too strong on the shot attempt. Now it's J.C. Jones.
Bad spot to pick up the dribble.
She does find an outlet as it was Wolterman who had to basically vacate her post-up position just to come and be an available option.
Which is a disservice to what the Norse are trying to run right now.
Kimora Morgan again. Down to a 4-point game.
Whatever the catered meal is on their way back to their home in Northern Kentucky, she deserves double of that catered meal for how hard she's worked.
Schaffer wide open on the back cut, extends the lead back up to 6.
Really big basket there. The baseline left wide open, and a great court awareness play.
That feels like one that Southern Indiana needed really badly. Scoop shot and one once again over top of Chloe Gannon.
If you're beat defensively, you got to just let him live to fight another day. Live to fight another day. We get a second look here thanks to our awesome crew. And again, Chloe Gannon was beat defensively, and the slap down across the arm, she's wondering what she did. But if you slap down like that, 96% of the time, one of the 3 referees on the floor, they're going to whistle that for a foul.
Is that a scientific study that 4% of the time they don't get that call?
My own scientific study, based on my own refereeing experience.
Zero doubt statistical analysis there from Zane Claude Felton. 3-point game, though, after the made free throw. The Norse have battled back mightily, outscoring USI 22-10 here in this fourth quarter. We have 90 seconds to play. Webb, drop step, and one for Maddie Webb.
Maddie Webb getting the ball where she wants it in the post, and then there was a mismatch defensively, a smaller defender on her. She recognized that the moment she got the ball, and that's incredibly tough to defend. Jordan Fisher, how about this pass and then the body contact and strong enough to battle through despite battling some of that shoulder injury issues. Now a chance for a 3-point play.
Maddie Webb converts the free throw, makes it a 6-point lead. Her first made free throw of the night gives her 7 points on the evening. And Morgan, feeling the hot hand, puts it in.
You knew she was going to make it because there is no shooter that is hotter right now in this game then Morgan for the Norse of NKU.
Kimura Morgan has been the story for the Norse to get him back in this one. It's once again a 3-point contest.
Really big possession here, 1 minute left, and if you're Southern Indiana, you want to stay in the flow of your offense. Don't slow it down.
Shafford with it, down to 7. They feed the post. Webb trying to drop it into Rayleigh. Loose ball that goes out of bounds. It'll be Northern Kentucky basketball with 47 seconds.
And a timeout is called here with the black and gold of the Norse.
USI is 3-0 at home this season, and they won 15 games out of 18 at home last year. Allie Saunders pressuring the basketball out near midcourt.
Going a little too slow if they're going to do a 2-for-1 here.
Kimura Morgan picks up her dribble.
Now they need to go for a 3.
Blevins trying to work against Green. Drop step inside, a lot of contact, no call. Loose ball, offensive rebound and putback for Walterman.
Okay, so it's not the end of the world, but that was an offensive possession. You're killing me.
I haven't mentioned that result in Columbus at all.
You're killing me, Jordan
did it
Fisher.
yourself. It's all in good fun. Lexi Green will trigger the inbounds as she gets it into Saunders. Saunders is fouled quickly, and that is the 5th team foul against the Norse. So that'll send Allie Saunders to the charity stripe. Saunders, a very good free throw shooter. She's 1 for 2 today. Came into today 8 of 9 on the season. And these are some big free throws here coming up for the junior guard from DePaul, Indiana.
That would be an understatement, you saying that these are big free throws.
She makes it a 2-point game at least.
And here's the thing, if there's a made free throw here, do you go for 2 again or do you go for the tie?
We'll also see if Northern Kentucky elects to use their final timeout. And they will use their final timeout. So it's a 3-point game. They're going to advance the ball forward. They're going to put the ball inbounds. Former GLVC foes, and it's coming down to the wire. Much like the last win for USI in this series, it was a double overtime affair. NKU, they've won 4 in a row, trying to make it 5.
Morgan has it.
Off a screen, fall away, too strong. Ball batted around, tracked down by Northern Kentucky.
Got to go for 3 now.
Still 10 seconds. Morgan back to Lacey. Inside they go for Walterman. She puts it in with 6.6 seconds, and USI calls a timeout. They'll advance the basketball, but now the North's going to have to get a steal, or USI is going to have to convert some free throws. We'll see what happens here in the final 6 and 6 seconds. And now a foul away from the basketball.
And honestly, that's not a bad scenario because if you foul, the Norse of NKU live on to fight another game.
It'll be Meredith Rayleigh stepping to the line, a 69% foul shooter on the season. She has 9 points here tonight. Make that 10 as she converts her first free throw attempt of the evening.
And again, Northern Kentucky, no timeout, so you can't call a timeout. If you do call a timeout, that's a technical foul.
Big second free throw, too strong, rebounded by Blevins. She's pushing the pace. Lacey for 3, and she's fouled on the 3-point attempt.
Man, Jordan Fisher, that's the last thing you wanted to do, and there, not having the timeout comes to a benefit for the Norse because it doesn't allow Southern Indiana to set up their press and set up their defense. Great court awareness. We get a second look at it. And it's no doubt this foul happened right in front of us, and Amaya Buchanan right across the arm.
Lacey misses the first free throw.
That is a big-time miss.
Here's the optimistic thing for USI if you want to look at this. You have 1 timeout remaining. Even if she makes these next 2 free throws, you can advance the basketball for a chance to win the game. She misses the second one. Now Northern Kentucky is going to have to try to miss this one and get the offensive putback.
Yeah, and you're seeing here Jeff Hands is going to bring in some size, and actually won't be able to until after this free throw because of the way the women's rules work.
Lacey intentionally misses. A lot of contact. Morgan fall away on the baseline. Left it short. And USI escapes 75-73. What a bad